Okay, let's start right at the beginning. If you've never played snooker before, what's the best way to get started? Well, I think it's a bad idea to start bogging yourself down with too much technical detail because you only get confused. What you really want to be concerned with is just hitting the ball and getting used to potting a few, because that, of course, is what the game's about. First things first, what about the cue? Well, if you're serious about the game, you're going to obviously buy your own cue. Firstly, best to buy one that's straight to start with. Wood does tend to warp a bit, so you're going to have a cue that ends up perhaps a little bit bent. But that's not so important as getting used to it, which is the reason why all professional players have their own cue. My cue is an ash cue, as you can see. That has a very strong, visible grain all the way down. Most of the modern day cues are these days made of maple, because it's a much easier wood to use these days. As you can see, both these cues are one-piece cues. You'll also see on television a lot of the players play with a two-piece cue these days. There's no difference really, apart from the fact that the two-piece cues are easier to take around the country. And actually one-piece cues are a bit cumbersome. I think if my one ever broke or I had it stolen or anything like that, I would actually use a two-piece cue from then on. Concerning the weight of a cue, most cues average out about 17 ounces. Mine's a 17-ounce cue, and that is a really sort of average weight, and it feels nice in your hand. And of course, when you're thinking about buying a cue, buy a cue that fits your hand. If you've got very long fingers, you can use a thicker butt. If you've got very short fingers, perhaps a thinner butt. As long as it feels comfortable, that's the main thing. Concerning the length of a cue, it also depends on how tall you are, but most cues are made to 4 foot 9 inches long, 4 foot 10, and that is an average length that you don't really have to need anything bigger than that or smaller. Really, you should look after your cue as best you can. Keep it in a case. Don't lean it against walls, because that can make it bend, especially over a long period. And don't leave it in the car if it's a hot day, because that can really ruin a cue. But really, the main important thing about a cue is really the tip, because that's where the part that hits the ball. I like a tip that's firm but not rock hard. If a tip's too hard, it won't grip the ball properly. If it's too soft, you won't get the right amount of feel when you're playing a shot, especially when you're putting side on.